What's up, everyone? Today we're talking about one of the most legendary franchises of all time, making a massive comeback, Masters of the Universe. He-Man is returning to the big screen, and this time it looks like Hollywood is finally ready to take Eternia seriously. Let's break down what we know so far about the new Masters of the Universe movie. The cast, the style, how it compares to the 80s cartoon, the toys, the old movie, and what we can realistically expect from this new version. What is Masters of the Universe? For anyone who grew up in the 80s or 90s, Masters of the Universe was everywhere. The toys were iconic, the cartoon was legendary. He-Man, Skeletor, Man-at-Arms, Teela, Orko, pure childhood staples. It's a classic good versus evil story set in the fantasy/sci-fi world of Eternia, where Prince Adam transforms into He-Man to defend Castle Grayskull from Skeletor and his forces. It's part sword and sorcery, part space opera, and part Saturday morning cartoon insanity. And now it's getting a modern, big-budget movie reboot. Cast and characters, what we know so far. The upcoming movie stars: Nicholas Galitzine as He-Man/Prince Adam, Jared Leto as Skeletor, Camila Mendes as Teela, Idris Elba as Man-at-Arms. That alone tells us a lot about the tone they're aiming for. You've got a mix of blockbuster presence, intensity, and modern action fantasy casting. Jared Leto as Skeletor is especially interesting. Love him or hate him, he commits hard to roles. That could mean a much more menacing psychological version of Skeletor than we've ever seen before. The style and look of the new movie. From everything we've seen so far, the aesthetics and colors look spot on. And honestly, that's huge. The world of Eternia needs to look wild, colorful, strange, and epic. Not muted, not generic fantasy, not gray and boring. It's really good to see a cartoon-accurate Skeletor design instead of some grounded, realistic reinterpretation that loses the soul of the character. Skull face, glowing eyes, purple armor. That's Skeletor. Same with He-Man. Huge, heroic, mythic, and visually iconic. This looks like a version of Eternia that respects the toys and the cartoons, but modernizes them for the big screen. Comparing it to the 80s cartoon, let's talk about the original Filmation cartoon. It was bright, campy, very child-friendly, and full of moral lessons at the end of every episode. Skeletor was more funny than scary. He-Man was pure good, and nothing ever went too dark, and that's okay. That show wasn't meant to be gritty. It was designed to sell toys and entertain kids. The toys and their influence. The toys are actually the foundation of the whole franchise. Those original Mattel figures define the look. Huge muscles, simple armor, bright colors, fantasy mixed with sci-fi. What's great about the new movie is that it seems to be honoring those designs, instead of trying to completely redesign everything into something unrecognizable. You can feel the toy DNA in the visuals, and that's a good thing. The 1987 movie, what it did right and wrong. Now, let's talk about the 80s live-action Masters of the Universe movie with Dolph Lundgren. What it did right. Dolph actually looked like He-Man. Frank Langella's Skeletor was intense and theatrical. Some of the Eternia sets were cool, but what it did wrong. It barely took place on Eternia. Most of the movie was on Earth. It didn't embrace the fantasy enough. It felt cheap and confused about its tone. It tried to be He-Man without fully committing to He-Man. The new movie looks like it's doing the opposite, going full Eternia, full myth, full spectacle. What I personally want from this movie now, I'd love to see a darker version of Masters of the Universe. Not grim for the sake of it, but epic, emotional, and powerful. Something closer in tone to Man of Steel than the 80s cartoon. I realize the original show was campy and kid-friendly, and that's part of its charm. But this is a movie for the fans, those who grew up. Give me real stakes, real loss, a conflicted Adam, a terrifying Skeletor. Let Eternia feel ancient, dangerous, and legendary. What we might expect from the new movie based on what we know. Bigger action, real world building, deeper character arcs, a Skeletor that's finally intimidating, but still colorful, still weird, still Masters of the Universe. And honestly, that balance is exactly what this franchise needs. Final thoughts. This new Masters of the Universe movie feels like a real second chance for the franchise. It looks like the visuals are right, the casting is strong, the tone is more accurate, and the love for the source material is there. If they can balance nostalgia with modern storytelling and not be afraid to go big and bold, this could finally be the epic He-Man movie fans have been waiting for since the 80s. What do you want from the new Masters of the Universe movie? Dark and serious, or colorful and campy? Let me know in the comments, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more movie previews and deep dives. By the power of Grayskull, we're back.